That's the big story here, is the price has to go up.
You know that BlackRock has filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF.
The great accumulation race is underway.
You know this is a huge deal for the crypto industry.
How big of a deal is this BlackRock ETF?
This is what's going to happen.
Everyone's heard of the space race, where a bunch of countries got together and they all tried to get to space first. But now what we're going to see is the great accumulation race. We have institutions and individuals all scrambling to try to get their share of the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in existence.
This will be a huge catalyst for Bitcoin and crypto adoption. There's a lot of reason to think that this ETF will get approved. BlackRock has too much lobbying power, money, and connections not to get this done. When the BlackRock ETF does get approved, this will send a cascade of institutional buy pressure into Bitcoin specifically and open the floodgates to crypto adoption broadly. A 10x in the price of Bitcoin, I think, is totally reasonable. Think about this.
The retail investor for 15 years now has had a head start, and they've accumulated all the Bitcoin that has been actually mined and put into circulation. But 68% of all of that Bitcoin in circulation hasn't moved in over a year. And so what that means is when Wall Street, people like BlackRock and other organizations that have now filed for these ETFs or other products, show up to the market and they want to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a highly illiquid asset, and these Bitcoiners don't want to sell to Wall Street. And so the only thing that can move when you have a fixed supply asset that's highly illiquid and there's a bunch of demand that comes into the market is the price has to go up.
Something fishy, I think, is going on though. As you know, Coinbase is being sued by the SEC. Yet, BlackRock is partnering with Coinbase to custody the Bitcoin, and BlackRock still needs the SEC's approval. And BlackRock only makes a move like this if they know it's a no-lose for them. The question is, what does BlackRock know about the SEC and Bitcoin that the rest of us don't? Pay very close attention to this discussion on CNBC. Think about what they're saying.
We have seen a spate of new Bitcoin ETF offerings recently, including from BlackRock. Even though everybody knows the SEC and Gary Gensler is completely hostile to the idea, and everybody said, well, they're going to say no to a Bitcoin ETF, just like they said no to everybody else. But I'm wondering why now? What does BlackRock think they're going to get out of this effort?
You can't get away from your favorite subject here, can you?
People ask me about it, and I don't have an easy answer for it. I always think I'm missing something here.
I think you're right. I think your sniffer
you think
usually
I'm missing
is
something?
No. I think you're onto something. I think your sniffer is always really pretty good, Bob. If BlackRock all of a sudden has filed for a Bitcoin ETF that's not futures based, it's spot Bitcoin,
right.
Okay? And Gensler said, no way, that's not going to happen. But at the same time, they're bringing together some pretty good partners from a custody standpoint. They've got Bank of New York Mellon, they've got Coinbase.
Right.
They've got an agreement, a surveillance agreement with NASDAQ to help with the security aspect of it. So they're trying to show the SEC that they're putting all the safety provisions in place to give them the confidence, to give them that acceptance of their application. I think the big thing we know is Gensler said, we're not going to do anything there unless we have the exchanges regulated, and Coinbase is not regulated.
But that's my question. Do you think this is going to change their mind? I can't without the clear regulatory authority, and they're not getting a bill through Congress. So now he's just resorted to essentially suing everybody. He's trying to regulate essentially by filing complaints.
Yeah.
I don't see how this changes.
If anybody can get it done, would you bet against BlackRock?
No.
You know, they're the behemoth, right? They're the.
That's why I'm thinking. I still don't quite get.
Yeah.
How are they going to change his mind?
I mean, if they can partner with Coinbase and say, look, you agree to get regulated, what would that do to your business? Imagine institutional investments, just 1% allocation to Coinbase, and what that would mean. We're talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people like you that are saying, is this finally the time? Is it going to happen?
We're going to follow this very carefully, folks, because, again, they're not going to waste their time.
Yeah.
Trust me, BlackRock isn't, if they don't think they have some chance.
By the way, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Daily videos just like this, keeping you informed on the entire cryptocurrency market. If you're interested in making money in cryptocurrency, subscribe to our channel, Daily Videos. The fact is, backroom deals are par for the course with institutions and people like these. Insider agreements are how these people do business. I'm saying that BlackRock and institutions like BlackRock know that crypto is here to stay. They're trying to get in business, not for the next few years, but for the next few decades with crypto. They always do stuff like this, scare retail away during the best times to buy. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Take a look at this.
This terrible price action in crypto has given us pause and forced us to ask a tough question. Should we continue to cover Bitcoin? And the answer is sadly no.
So Gary Gensler says crypto needs to be cleaned up, but then approves Fidelity, Citadel, and Charles Schwab for an institutional crypto exchange. Only for institutions. Scare retail, hold retail up, let the institutions get in because they missed the first 12 years when retail was accumulating. And by the way, even if BlackRock does face certain challenges with the approval, this signals to everybody in the world the direction they intend to proceed in. A mass accumulation is underway.
And so I think that BlackRock right now is realizing if you just bought Bitcoin and held it since the start of the pandemic, you've outperformed almost every single hedge fund on Wall Street. You just Bitcoin and chill. And I tend to think that these investors, they're not going to go put 100% of their assets into Bitcoin. But what they are starting to say is, does this warrant a 1, 2, 3% allocation into a portfolio? And I think that that argument is becoming much more hard to ignore. And so what I think you're going to start seeing is that these large asset managers say we have to have a product in the market.
This is my final point. This is what most people aren't considering. I know subscribers of Altcoin Daily think about this. You guys are smarter than the average crypto investor. But most people don't think like this. After the Bitcoin ETF gets approved, what's next? There are many legitimate crypto assets in the space today. Bad ones? Obviously. But good ones too, obviously. What crypto coins are after Bitcoin?
Well, 4 years ago, like almost to this week, I kind of gave a shout out. It wasn't endorsed, it was kind of a fake shout out to Litecoin. You got Algorand, you got Solana, you got Dogecoin, you got Ether. How much are you in any of these ones? To your point, the more risky ones, the more gambling, not boring old Bitcoin in a way, but taking an investment risk down that crypto ladder, if you will, Anthony.
Bitcoin is the king. I don't think that's going to change. It's over 50% of the market today. Hash rate's at an all-time high. If you go and you look at wallet addresses with 0.1 Bitcoin or 1 full Bitcoin, it's hitting all-time highs. And I continue to think that Bitcoin is going to continue to prove to be the winner in this market. And so if you're somebody who's looking at the market, it's just like buying the S&P 500 index, right? You just want the boring thing that seems to keep compounding for a long period of time. And it's the timeless investing principle. Buy great assets and never sell them.
See, Bitcoin-only people get on TV and they continue to try to hide the innovation going on in the crypto space. But you and I both know that big players like BlackRock, like Fidelity, like Citadel, like Charles Schwab, they know the biggest gains will come from altcoins.
Hey, if you'll be in Portugal around the 10th through 12th of July, use our code AltcoinDaily50 for 50% off tickets to Blockdown Festival. It's not just a conference, it's an experience, it's a festival. We'll be speaking there, we'll be hanging around. I hope to see you there. Again, use our code 50% off tickets.